1. So we're back again at the Hit Factory Customs with Dunk Motor Game. Everybody, Dunk Motor Game! Yay! All right. These are fenders I was working on yesterday. Y'all gonna see in the video. So I was just giving a brief sermon on how I choose to block sand on my final prime. So like this primer usually I prime a car like at least 3 times. Try to get it as straight as possible, and I like to have the car, you know, with enough primer on it, enough mils. It adds volume, and then when I paint it, it just looks really nice. A lot of times, I think a lot of people don't put enough primer on the car. That's one of the biggest issues I've seen. But you can't overdo it and put too much. But that's another episode. So right now, I'm just showing you. You're gonna see footage of me blocking these fenders and showing me. I'm gonna put tape on them. I'm gonna show you how I address high and low spots. And you'll get an idea how I prep a car, how I prep panels, and I usually sand the entire car at one piece and then take the parts off and start prepping them. But this particular car, I took the pieces off because it's a base coat paint job. I don't necessarily have to paint the car at one piece, so I just went ahead and once the car was all straight, you know, pretty much lined up, lines, gaps, everything right, I took everything apart, and then I started doing extra details or priming extra and doing things of that nature. So, yeah, so now you're gonna look at the fenders. I sanded all inside. I sanded the outside. I used 220. 220 cuts, a little sharper than 320. And you're gonna get a straighter finish with 220. Now you're gonna have 220 grit scratches. And you can't really wet sand with 600 over 220 grit scratches and get them all out. So, what I suggest to do is, I like to, once again, tell you again, I will use scuff stuff while the panel is in 220. I'll use the scuff stuff. I don't have the bucket, but it's over there. I'll show you later. And I'll use one of these Merker pads with some water. Then I'll scuff the whole panel in and out, get all the nooks and crannies, front, back, underneath. And then once I get it like that, then I'll come back with 500 grit wet sand paper and wet sand with 500. I never use 600. 600 is for newer cars. 600 doesn't have enough grit to hold all of this paint we're putting on, the amount of mils we're putting on. Especially if you're trying to put clear on top of clear on top of clear and all that. You need it to be more like 400. So I prefer to use 500. So this is what I would do. I would 220 it, and then I would come back and with some water, scuff stuff right here. Pack, scuff stuff, this pad, and then I would prep the surface like that, and then I would wet sand it 500. Sometimes I do it the other way around. So if I were to sand with 320, then I would wet sand 500 and then finish with scuff stuff. But being that I blocked it with 220, I'm gonna go on the other way around. So this is gonna kill some of those scratches. And after I kill some of those scratches, then I can come back through 500 wet, and then they'll be ready for paint. So tonight I'm painting these 2 fenders, the nose, the ears, the trunk, wheel wells. I'm painting all that tonight. And this is gonna be like a gunmetal charcoal gray. So yeah, it's a 73 Vert for Don from Sanford, Florida. It's him and his 2 partners. We got Stank, the Teal 72, and we got the Spirit Circle with the Purple 71. So all them is homeboys, and we're gonna try to get them real nice and clean up there in Sanford. So I want to show you little minor things. Like once I was blocking, I found some stuff that I didn't really like, so I just went through with some glazed putty. And you can see right here, I just put glazed putty in certain spots. And make sure you keep it fine. Don't leave any rough scratches, because we got metallic and it's going base coat. So 1000%, you're going to end up seeing the scratches in the metallic paints, because the metallics, the metal flakes, they will sit inside the scratch, and that's how you see it. So it's very important to get all the scratches out and have the surface as smooth as possible. But not 600. 500, 400. 400 is good. House of Colors recommends 400 to paint over 400 wet or 400 period dry. But so yeah, so this video is mostly about block sanding and prepping panels before paint. So you get an idea. You're gonna see how I was sanding. You're gonna see it's not just being rough and just trying to get it sanded. It's about sanding it properly and evenly. So check the video out. It's probably like 10 minutes maybe. Later on, we're gonna have some footage on the car actually being painted, and also we got this orange Monte Carlo coming up next. We just finished the teal 72 flow coating. Just want to show you real quick. We just finished our flow coating and undercoated the inside. I rhino line the inside black. So now I'm gonna do the belly. That's that, man. So until next time, tune in, like, subscribe, share. We've been going up. We've been doing some good ass numbers this last month, so we're trying to keep it going up. And shit, that's what we on. I ain't going to get no haircut for another month. We got work to do. So y'all stay with me, and that's it. Keep the channel going. Come on. All right. So, as you can see, I'm block sanding this fender. I got these two fenders to prep for a 73 vert. Doing like a gunmetal gray with metallic. Blocking with 220. I'm gonna follow through afterwards with a light 320, and then I'm gonna wet sand it with 500. I like using 500. But yeah, we're gonna check for low spots. See, we got one right there. We're gonna have maybe one or two. I'm not sure how it's gonna end up when I'm done, but for the most part, you want to get it as straight as possible. When you block sanding, it's not necessarily always about just sanding and getting it off. Blocking for paint, now it's like a sculpting process. You might gotta sand more over here than you gotta sand over there. Ultimately, you gotta get all the guide coat off. But for the most part, you want to. Block it evenly, and you want your cross hatching patterns diagonal and the other way, straight, and keep all your patterns and your blocking and sanding nice and uniform. So yeah, so we're gonna just keep going, and you'll see the finished product when we're done. We'll see if we have to put any glazed putty in the small areas, and see, we gotta put a little quick primer and what we're gonna do from there. But for the most part, it'll take me about an hour and a half probably per fender, maybe an hour per fender, maybe an hour and a half, I'm not sure, depending on how I'm feeling. It's kind of hot and my fan just broke, so I'm sweating real bad. So yeah, y'all just stick with me and watch what we're doing. So now we're gonna use this linear blocking tool. Seeing a lot of people use them now. My boy Stubbs put me on. Gave them to me last year. So they've been great for me. I definitely appreciate it, Stubbs. I like them. See, they got one that has less ridges and one with more ridges, and those are for flexibility. This is the straightest, it's the hard block straight. That's what I like using. So you're gonna watch me just block it. I gotta be careful because it's on a stand, so I gotta watch what I'm doing. And then yeah, I'm gonna keep it moving. Great. we back. I had a little interruption. What we're gonna do now? What we're gonna do now is we're gonna get this line together. Nice and easy. You feel me? big boy out. See how it looks now? Got a line cleaned up. So you got a little tiny spot right there. We're gonna get that fixed. We're gonna get it all the way even across. So we're gonna get that line together by hand right now. We're gonna come back and show you. So what you wanna do, right? I get a little piece of sandpaper, like a sharper one, like 220 or 180. I fold it like this. Fold the sandpaper, right? Make a little piece like that. Make the edges, make it nice, fold it nice and sharp. And then you're gonna ride your tape line with this sandpaper. Ride your tape line